Place your dry ingredients into the bowl of a stand mixer, so that's flour, sugar, salt, and instant yeast. Whisk for a second, then add in your butter, water, and milk. Use a dough scraper or spatula to bring the dough together a bit, then using a dough hook attachment, knead this on medium for 3.5 minutes. We aren't trying to develop too much gluten, so 3.5 minutes is perfect because it'll be supple and slightly elastic by then. Once it's been kneaded, remove the dough from the bowl and form it into a ball. Then place it in a lightly greased bowl and cover with plastic wrap. Let this rest and proof for an hour and a half or until doubled in size. Once the dough has been rested, you can turn it onto a table, press it down to release all the air, then using the plastic wrap, form this dough into a rectangle and place it in the fridge to rest overnight. Okay, so you're going to start this day by making a butter block. Get 2 sticks of butter, then place them in the center of a sheet of parchment paper and fold the parchment paper over the butter in such a way that you create a rectangle. You don't need to measure the rectangle before forming the block. The reason why is because we're going to measure it once it's formed, and that will dictate how big we'll roll out our dough. But if you want an estimate, I rolled mine out to about 8 by 6 inches. Beat the butter with a rolling pin, then press and roll the butter evenly to all corners of the rectangle. Place this in the fridge and take out your dough. It should have puffed up overnight. Press to release the air again, and make sure you have enough flour underneath the dough. Now if you made your butter block 8 by 6 inches, roll this out to 12 inches lengthwise and 8 inches widthwise. Basically, one measurement has to match one measurement of the butter block, and the other side has to be double the measurement of the other side of the butter. This works for any measurement you take. That's why measuring the butter block before even making it doesn't matter, and it's a hassle anyways. So once I've rolled the dough out, I'll take my butter block out, make sure it's malleable, then place it over the dough, making sure that 8 inches align with the 8 inches of the dough. Then I'll fold the dough over the butter, and you can see why we need double the size, because this will cover the butter perfectly. If it doesn't, you can stretch the dough a bit to cover the butter. Now press the dough a bit just to lock in the butter, then starting from the center, roll out the dough till it's between 25 to 27 inches. Make sure there's enough flour underneath the dough the entire time. This is optional, but if you're looking for perfect lamination, trim off the uneven ends of the dough. Now we're going to fold this into 4 layers, which is called a double fold. Fold about 4 inches on the right, then fold the left till it meets the right fold. Then from the left, complete one more full fold. At this point, cover your dough, place it in the fridge, and let it rest for half an hour. I'm just going to carry on because my dough is still very cold and I'm short on time. Roll it out to about 22 inches this time, and do something called a single fold. Fold a third in from the right, then fold the remaining third from the left. Press this down and let it rest in the freezer overnight. If you're impatient, you can let it rest in the fridge for an hour, then carry on, which is what I did. But if you want to make croissants how they're properly made, give this another night's rest. So after it's rested, flour the surface, make sure the side of the crease is on your right, and then roll this out to 11 inches. You won't have to roll much. And then rotate and roll out to 16 inches. Trim off the edges by just a little, then mark the dough at intervals of 3¼ inches. Do the same with the top, then cut the dough along these intervals. You might have some extra dough. Then cut these pieces right in the middle to create 6 equal strips of dough. Place these on each other, cover with wrap, and place in the freezer for 15 minutes. In the meantime, get yourself a chocolate bar. Use this brand because the measurements of the dough are based off of it. If you don't have this brand, check the notes in the description for how to make use of other brands. Get yourself a chef's knife and a big mug of really hot water. Dip the knife into the water for 30 seconds, then wipe with a kitchen towel and begin slowly cutting into the chocolate like so. The hot knife will melt the chocolate and allow you to cut small sticks out of this bar without breaking the chocolate. Some pieces might break, and that's okay, they're still usable. Once you've cut the whole bar into sticks, move this to the side and take out your dough strips. Remove any excess flour from the dough on your surface, place one stick at one end, roll the dough over it till it covers it entirely, then place one more stick on the dough. Roll the rest of the dough and repeat this with all the strips. Then place all sticks on a baking tray with parchment paper, then cover it with plastic wrap and let this proof in a turned off oven with the light on for half an hour. After half an hour, turn off the light and let it proof for another 30 minutes to an hour, or until you see the layers begin to split. Once they do, gently take this tray out the oven, preheat your oven to 360 degrees Fahrenheit, make an egg wash with 1 egg, a pinch of salt, a dash of milk, and a dash of heavy cream, then apply it to all the croissants. Bake these at 360 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes or until they're all evenly browned, and that's it.